Hey there, I'm MaryLilianS and I welcome you to my first video on YouTube where I'll be showing you what art supplies I have and what new things I bought for opening my Etsy shop. I'll have all the supplies listed in the description for anyone that's interested. So let's jump right into it. These STABILO markers I bought ages ago and I only really use them to write or draw in birthday cards. These are my sketching pencils, mostly used for drawing studies or life drawings. The Faber-Castell ones I have since school and they are really great. It includes pencils from 8B to 2H. And these Koh-I-Noor pencils, I totally butchered the name. I don't really use them that much, but it comes with 5B to 5H pencils. Moving on to my colored pencils. I love Faber-Castell products, even though they can be a bit pricey. These pencils are water-based, therefore can be used with watercolors, which is something I really like. Well, now these pastels I haven't used or even opened yet. I bought them for a uni project but never used them. I'll probably try and use them with the clay stuff. Charcoals are fun to work with, but can be messy, that's why I don't really use them at home. Only use them in life drawings at school and uni. You can do pretty cool stuff with lighting and shading. Of course, if you work with charcoal, you must have a fixative spray, or you'll have a disaster in your hands. Believe me, I know. Fixative sprays are also good for pencil sketches. This is a waterproof ink, which I sometimes use for outlines in watercolors. I also bought ink pens for it, the ones that you dip in the ink. I store my markers, clay tools and other stuff that I'll show you in these pencil cases. This is my main pencil case with all the supplies I use for sketching or drawing out ideas. Let me just show you what's in it. These are the ink pens I was talking about earlier. The packet came with these two different pen holders and 6 nibs. For cheap ink pens, they are cool. The bigger nibs are for the big pen holder. And the smaller ones for the small pen holder. I have this small sharpener that doesn't take much space. It sharpens to different size pencils, but I only use the normal one as I don't have any bigger pencils. This is one of my Kneadable erasers. Not a fan of this one, doesn't really work as well as my other one. This Faber-Castell is the one I mostly use, more so than normal erasers, as it doesn't leave any rubber shavings, cause they can sometimes be annoying. Then I have this small ruler if I want to draw straight lines or measure stuff. I have different size leads for my mechanical pencils, 0.7 and 0.5. And these colored ones that I rarely use, but I thought they'll be nice when I bought them ages ago. They are 0.7. I use these erasers mostly for any small details because they are easier to erase. This one I use more than the other as it holds the eraser better and it doesn't fall out. Moving to some of my black ink pens. I have two of these that I mostly use for writing. The tip is a little bit destroyed on this one, but still writes okay. Then these lovely pens that are really good. The packet comes with 0.1, 0.3, 0.5 and 0.7. I like them because I don't have to wait for them to dry to erase any pencil outlines, as they don't smudge. .7 is the thickest tip. This is 0.3. .1, the thinnest, and 0.5. My mechanical pencils. Not sure what lead size this one takes. The one inside is my last one, and I'll have to at some point get more. This is the one I mostly use and feels nice to sketch ideas with. Then these two are 0.5. This is the only type of pencil I use and have lots of them for that reason. They are all 2.5 HB. My other two erasers. And forgot about this pencil that I only use to write down ideas. Bought this recently. They are nice to sketch with as an alternative to graphite. The blue ones do not show on photos when you draw with little pressure. I don't use these gel pens as much, but when I do, it's mostly for sketching. The black one is nice for drawing hair. All of them are the same tip size. Bought this for any white details I wanted to add on top of ink or watercolor drawings. I was a bit disappointed as it doesn't work that great. So I moved to this white Posca marker that does the job. This is the pencil case with the rest of my ink pens and shading markers. The B is the brush one. This one is the thinnest one out of the four. Then this is kind of the medium one in terms of thickness. And finally, this is the thickest one. These are all brush tips and I use them for shading my sketches or doodles. This one here stores my Posca markers and other stuff that I couldn't fit in my other cases. Again, they are all the same size. A silver marker. And scissors. Oh, and a black marker. So this is the case for my clay tools and other stuff that I recently bought. These silicone mixing cups for my UV resin. That came with these two mixing sticks. A silver tape that I use for packaging. And all the clay tools. These plastic ones came with a color clay that I'll show you in a bit. And these ones that I'll be mostly using. My color clay that I haven't used yet, but I'm thinking of using it to create small charms. My white clay, I've already done some tests, but I'm still designing stuff. Next are my watercolor palettes. This one, for a kind of cheap one, the quality is great, but has only 11 colors. This is my more expensive one, but not as expensive. It has 36 colors. This porcelain palette was another recent purchase for my acrylic paints. These are the acrylic paints that I use to paint on the clay. Here are all my brushes. These two are nice watercolor brushes because they store water. These ones are for oil, acrylic and watercolor paint. I mostly use these two and this one to cover bigger surface. These are my cheap brushes that I use for the UV resin. Brushes are also for oil, acrylic and watercolor paint. This big one is good with watercolors. Then this is my thinnest brush I use for any details. My cheap UV lamp that works fine so far is a USB one. This is the reason I got the UV lamp. The UV resin is adding a glossy finish to my clay products, which makes them look much better. My base coat before adding the paint, not necessary, but I wanted to experiment and see what's better. Now moving to all the pins and keyrings material. My bar pins that come in 4 different sizes. The keyrings and pin backs. And this that also came with the color clay. Here are all my sketchbooks. All my ideas and doodles go in this one. My watercolor A5 paper. Oh, the brown card paper that I'll use as my bagging cards. This is a uni sketchbook that I hadn't finished, so I decided to take all the empty pages from the rest of my uni sketchbooks and add them all in this one. So there are different types of paper at the front. Got 2 of these for free with my black watercolor palette, and I'm so happy as the paper is great for watercolors and post markers. This is the box with almost all my packing supplies. Colored tissue paper. And A6 envelopes. This was the video, guys. Check the description as I'll have a list of all the items I showed you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked the video, and feel free to leave a comment.